Before we settle into the quiet of the night, let's venture into a world beneath our feet, a world of silent beauty and hidden terrors, the realm of caves. There's something ancient and powerful about these places. They call to us, don't they? A primal wonder, maybe, or the thrill of discovery. Imagine stepping into a space untouched by sunlight for millennia, where time seems to stand still. You see formations shaped by water over countless ages, hear the drip-drip of unseen springs, and feel the cool, still air. It's an adventure, a chance to explore a truly unseen world, a journey into the very bones of the earth. People spend their lives chasing this feeling, the sheer awe of it all. It's like stepping onto another planet, but it's right here, just below the surface. This allure, this deep-seated curiosity, is what draws so many to these underground labyrinths. It's the promise of something extraordinary, something truly wild and untamed. But here's the thing about promises, they can be broken. Gently, the scene shifts, still beautiful, but with a subtle hint of unease. The shadows seem a little deeper, the passages a little tighter. These magnificent, unseen worlds have a hidden side. Caves aren't benign places, not at all. They are dark, cold, and unforgiving. They whisper promises of discovery, but often they deliver only silence. For every breathtaking vista, there's a treacherous drop. For every shimmering pool, a hidden siphon. You see, the beauty of a cave can sometimes trick you, make you forget just how utterly indifferent it is to human life. It doesn't care if you're brave or smart or well-equipped. It simply exists, massive and unyielding. The silence you crave can turn into an oppressive weight, the darkness into a blindfold, and the cool air into a chilling embrace. It's a world that demands respect, and if you don't give it, it takes it. So, what happens when the allure turns to horror? What happens when that sense of primal wonder twists into pure dread? What are some of the most chilling and truly gruesome ways people have met their end in these underground labyrinths? Tonight, we're going to look at the other side of cave exploration, the side where the incredible beauty gives way to profound danger. We'll explore the moments when the dream of discovery becomes a nightmare of survival, or worse, a fight against an inevitable, agonizing end. It's a tough subject, no doubt, but one that sheds light on the immense power of nature and the incredible fragility of human life when faced with it. Our journey ahead won't just explore the physical dangers, like falling rocks or rising water. We'll delve into the psychological terror, the slow creep of despair, and the profound finality of a cave death. This isn't about sensationalism. It's about understanding. Tonight, we won't dwell on the macabre for its own sake, but rather understand the incredible, almost unimaginable, struggles faced by those who venture too deep. It's about recognizing the courage it takes to explore these places and the tragic costs when things go wrong. We owe it to those who lost their lives to understand their struggle, to acknowledge the immense challenges they faced. We'll be respectful, contemplative, and aim to truly grasp the sheer, overwhelming power of the earth when it decides to hold on to you. This kind of fear is unique. Unlike a mountain peak, where the sky is always above you, vast and open, a cave offers no escape from the relentless press of the earth around you. It's like being swallowed whole, a feeling of being consumed by the very ground you stand on. The darkness isn't just a lack of light. It's a tangible presence, heavy and suffocating. The cold isn't just uncomfortable. It's an embrace that slowly drains the warmth from your body, numbing you to the core. It's a fear that burrows deep, even into the bravest heart, because you are utterly, completely at the mercy of your surroundings. There's no quick escape, no easy way out, just the relentless, silent pressure of rock and darkness, a reminder that in these ancient places, humanity is but a fleeting, vulnerable visitor. It's a quiet dread that can gnaw at your insides, a fear that, once experienced, is never truly forgotten. Chapter 2. The Silent Killers, Environmental Hazards Below Ground. Imagine the chill of a winter morning, but it never leaves, clinging to every rock and passage. This isn't just uncomfortable. It's a slow, numbing killer. This is the ever-present cold of the underground. Cave temperatures are consistently low, often hovering around 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. It might not sound freezing, but when you're in a dark, damp environment, with no sunlight to warm you and no way to move around much, that seemingly mild temperature becomes a serious threat. Your body starts to lose heat, slowly but surely. Without proper gear, thick clothing, dry suits, and a way to stay active, your core body temperature can drop surprisingly fast. This isn't like shivering in the snow and then coming inside to a warm fire. In a cave, there's no escape from it. Hypothermia sets in quietly. First, you might feel a bit clumsy, then drowsy. Your mind gets foggy, making bad decisions seem like good ones. That's the insidious part. You often don't even realize how much trouble you're in until it's too late. Your body simply loses the will to keep warm, and eventually it just shuts down. It's a quiet fading, a slow surrender to the chill embrace of the earth. Now, picture a gentle stream in a cave. Pretty, right? But here's the terrifying truth. A trickle can become a torrent, a gentle stream, a raging river, all in the blink of an eye. This is the liquid embrace of a cave, and it's incredibly dangerous. Heavy rainfall outside, miles away, can send a sudden, massive surge of water into the cave system. What was a dry passage moments ago can become a deadly, rushing channel. Cavers can be swept away, or worse, crushed against unforgiving rock formations in a flash flood. Then there are siphons, underwater passages. You might think you can swim through, but if the water level rises even a little, or if the passage is tighter than you thought, you can become trapped, unable to surface. The power of water in a confined space is immense. It can drag you, pin you, and drown you without a moment's warning. The cave, with its tight passages and hidden pools, becomes a watery trap, offering no quarter. It's a sudden, terrifying end, often with no time to react. Sometimes the air itself turns against you. It's not the roaring fire or the crushing rock, but a silent thief that steals your breath, slowly, insidiously, until the world simply fades to black. This is the invisible threat. Bad air and suffocation. Caves can have strange atmospheres. Carbon dioxide, for instance, can build up from geological activity or decaying organic matter. It's heavier than air, so it pools in low spots, like a silent, invisible lake. You breathe it in, and at first you might feel a bit dizzy or nauseous. Then your head starts to ache and your vision blur. Soon, you become unconscious. There's no panic, often no struggle, just a gradual fading. You simply stop breathing. And then there's oxygen depletion. In stagnant air pockets, especially in deeper, less ventilated parts of a cave, the oxygen can simply be used up. Your body screams for air, but there's nothing to give it. It's a quiet, insidious death, where your own breath is stolen from you without a sound. Every turn looks the same. Your light flickers, then dies, and suddenly the path behind you vanishes. This is the ultimate disorientation, getting lost. It sounds simple, like something that shouldn't happen with modern gear, but caves are mazes. Passages branch off, tunnels narrow, and markers can be obscured. In the utter darkness, without a consistent point of reference, it's incredibly easy to become disoriented. Panic sets in, and with panic comes poor decisions. You take the wrong turn, then another. Your sense of direction, which you rely on so heavily above ground, becomes useless. Then your light source gives out. Imagine being in absolute crushing darkness, unable to see your hand in front of your face. Every step is a gamble. The psychological toll is immense. The endless searching, the gnawing hunger, the desperate thirst, and then the chilling realization you are utterly, hopelessly alone, with only the echoes of your own fear for company. The slow, drawn-out demise of getting lost is a battle not just against the cave, but against your own mind, as hope slowly dwindles in the silent dark. It's a truly terrifying way to go, one that allows for far too much time to consider the grim reality. Chapter 3. Crushed and Entombed, the Horror of Entrapment. Of all the dangers, perhaps none grips the imagination or the heart quite like the fear of entrapment. The thought of being held fast, immovable, by the very earth itself. It's the ultimate loss of control, isn't it? To be caught, not by a monster or a flood, but by the solid, unyielding rock around you. It's a deeply unsettling thought, conjuring up primal fears of being buried alive, of being utterly helpless. For cavers, this is the nightmare they try not to think about, the one that makes your breath catch in your throat. It's the silent promise of a horrifying, slow-motion end. Cavers often talk about squeezes, those incredibly narrow passages where you have to literally squeeze your body through, sometimes on your belly, sometimes on your side. They're part of the challenge, the thrill of getting into untouched areas. But what happens when a passage that seemed traversable suddenly becomes a vice? This is the terror of tight squeezes and restrictions. Even a slight misjudgment, a shift in body position, or a sudden, unexpected change in the rock can lead to becoming wedged. You push, you pull, you twist, but the rock holds firm. The sheer terror is immediate and overwhelming. You can't move forward, you can't move backward. The air grows thin, not from lack of oxygen, but from sheer lung-constricting panic. Your heart pounds, your breath comes in ragged gasps, and you realize you are utterly stuck, a human cork in a rocky bottle. Every desperate struggle just seems to wedge you tighter, deeper into the earth's unforgiving grip. Sometimes the earth simply shifts, grumbling its ancient complaint. A sudden rumble, a shower of dust, and then silence. This is the catastrophic danger of rockfalls and cave-ins. Caves are not static. Water constantly erodes, tectonic plates shift, and sometimes the sheer weight of tons of rock above decides to give way. It can be loose rocks from the ceiling, dislodged by a vibration or a touch, or a massive structural collapse, often triggered by water or even distant seismic activity. Imagine the sound, a terrifying roar that fills the confined space, followed by the sickening thud of massive boulders. In an instant, you can be buried alive, or have limbs pinned beneath crushing weight. The immediacy of it is horrifying. One moment you're moving freely, the next, you're either completely entombed or gravely injured and trapped, facing a slow, agonizing wait for rescue that may never come. It's the ultimate expression of the cave's power, claiming its territory in the most brutal way. The darkness becomes a living thing, pressing in. Your own breath sounds like thunder, and the minutes stretch into hours, then days, each tick of the clock a cruel reminder of time slipping away. This is the psychological torment of entrapment. Beyond the physical pain, the mental battle is often even more horrific. Claustrophobia, if you have it, becomes an unbearable monster. Panic attacks can make breathing impossible, even if the air is perfectly fine. The sounds, or a lack thereof, become maddening. The relentless drip of water, the distant, muffled voices of rescuers that bring fleeting hope, only to fade, or the terrible, deafening silence that confirms you are truly alone. The agony of anticipation, the desperate prayers, and the slow, inevitable creep of despair as rescue efforts fail, one after another. Your mind can turn against you, showing you visions, playing tricks in the dark. It's a slow torment, a battle fought entirely within your own mind, as the reality of your situation sinks in with agonizing slowness. And then there's the undignified end. Being trapped can lead to incredibly uncomfortable, physically painful, and ultimately undignified positions that contribute to the gruesome nature of the death. Imagine being twisted, contorted, and wedged in a space too small for your body. Your limbs might be bent at unnatural angles, circulation cut off. You might be unable to shift even an inch to relieve the crushing pressure or excruciating pain. There's a horror in the slow twisting of the body, the desperate contortions to find relief, the realization that this small, tight space, where every muscle screams in protest, will be your final, agonizing resting place. It's not a peaceful passing. It's a battle against your own failing body, forced into an impossible position by the unyielding rock, until finally, exhaustion, pain, and despair bring about a brutal end. The cave doesn't care about comfort or dignity. It simply holds you until you can no longer fight. Chapter 4, The Sand Cave Ordeal, The Fate of Floyd Collins. In the early 20th century, Kentucky's landscape was a honeycomb of caves, and among its most daring explorers was Floyd Collins, a man whose life was intertwined with the very earth he explored. This was before the days of detailed maps and advanced safety gear. It was a time of raw courage and pure ambition. Floyd was more than just a caver. He was an adventurer, a showman even, constantly searching for the next big discovery that could become a tourist attraction. He lived and breathed the underground world, a quiet, determined man who understood the cave's secrets better than most. The Mammoth Cave area was his backyard, a vast, complex network of passages that he knew like the back of his hand. He was driven by the dream of finding something truly spectacular, a new wonder to share with the world, and to make a living from the earth he loved. His ambition, however, would lead him to a place from which he would never return. On that fateful day in January 1925, Floyd squeezed into a new, unexplored passage in what he hoped would be a grand discovery. He had been exploring a place called Sand Cave, a smaller, less-known system, believing it might connect to the much larger Crystal Cave, which he hoped to develop as a tourist site. He was alone, as was often his custom, driven by that singular desire to be the first to see what lay beyond the next bend. He wiggled his way into a tight crawl space, deeper and deeper, and then, just 45 feet down, a seemingly innocuous rock shifted, pinning his left leg. 45 feet, it might as well have been a mile. It wasn't a dramatic collapse, just a cruel, subtle shift of rock and sand, enough to trap him, but not enough to kill him outright. The true horror was in the subtlety of it, the quiet, almost polite way the cave decided to hold on to him. He was stuck, unable to move, alone in the dark, with the weight of the world on his leg. News traveled fast, not by internet, but by telegraph and newspaper headlines that screamed of the trapped caver. The entire nation held its breath, glued to the agonizing, day-by-day struggle to free Floyd. This wasn't just a local accident. It became a national obsession, a media circus unlike anything seen before. Reporters flocked to the site, setting up telegraph lines, filing stories that captivated millions. People gathered around newspaper offices, waiting for the latest updates. It was an unfolding drama, live, in real time, played out in the cold, dark confines of a Kentucky cave. The world was watching, hoping, praying for a miracle. The sheer scale of the public's engagement highlighted the deep human connection to tales of struggle and survival against the overwhelming odds of nature. Everyone had an opinion, everyone felt invested, desperate for good news that never truly came. Rescuers worked tirelessly, digging a parallel shaft through treacherous rock and shifting sand. It was a race against time, against the cave itself, a battle fought inch by agonizing inch. The attempts to free Floyd were Herculean. First, they tried to clear the rock from around his leg, but the passage was too unstable, threatening to collapse on him entirely. Then, a massive operation began to dig a vertical shaft from the surface, hoping to intercept the passage where he was trapped. Miners, engineers, volunteers, hundreds of people worked day and night, facing constant dangers from falling rock, unstable ground, and the sheer physical exhaustion. They tried to bring him food and water, even a small electric light. They talked to him, tried to keep his spirits up, but the task was almost impossible. The geological challenges were immense, the ground notoriously unstable. Each small gain was met with a new, crushing setback, as the earth seemed to actively resist their efforts. Days turned into weeks. Floyd's voice grew weaker, his body succumbing to the cold, the thirst, the crushing pressure. The world listened helplessly as a life slowly ebbed away, trapped in the stony embrace of the earth. For 18 agonizing days, Floyd Collins endured unimaginable suffering. The cold seeped into his bones, dehydration and starvation weakened him further, and the pressure on his leg became unbearable. Communication with him became increasingly difficult. He slipped in and out of consciousness, his words becoming slurred, then disappearing altogether. The rescuers could hear him sometimes, a faint murmur, a gasp, and then silence. The public, reading their newspapers, felt every agonizing moment with him, the dread growing heavier with each passing day. He was still alive when rescuers were just feet away, but the final cruel irony was that he died just hours before they broke through to him. It was a slow surrender to the inevitable, witnessed by millions. A truly gruesome wait for an end that everyone feared but could not stop. When rescuers finally broke through on the 18th day, silence was all they found. Floyd Collins was gone, and in a final solemn decision, the cave remained his tomb, sealed forever against future attempts. Retrieving his body was deemed too dangerous, risking more lives in the unstable passage. So Floyd Collins was left where he perished, the cave claiming him forever. A steel plate now covers the entrance to his final resting place, a silent memorial to a man whose adventurous spirit led him to an enduring, tragic embrace with the earth he loved to explore. The cave had made its permanent claim, a chilling testament to its indifference and power. Chapter 5. The Upside-Down Tomb, John Edward Jones and Nutty Putty Cave. Decades later, in 2009, another experienced caver, John Edward Jones, embarked on a Thanksgiving adventure with his family into Utah's infamous Nutty Putty Cave. It was meant to be a fun, challenging exploration. John was 26 years old, a medical student, and a skilled caver. He had explored caves since childhood, often with his father, and knew the risks. This wasn't some reckless amateur. He was cautious, well-trained, and loved the thrill of the underground. He was home for Thanksgiving, sharing his passion with his brother and friends, looking for a memorable trip, a way to bond and explore one of Utah's unique underground wonders. Nutty Putty Cave was famous for its tight squeezes, a real test for even seasoned cavers, and John was up for the challenge. He had explored it before, years earlier, and felt a quiet confidence in his abilities. This trip was supposed to be a joyous reunion, a shared adventure beneath the earth, but it quickly became something far more terrifying. Nutty Putty was known for its tight squeezes, particularly a section called the birth canal. This infamous passage was notoriously difficult, requiring cavers to contort their bodies to get through. John, seasoned as he was, believed he saw an alternative path, a shortcut. What he found instead was an unmarked, inverted crevice. He'd actually been in Nutty Putty before, years ago, and remembered finding the birth canal extremely difficult. This time, as he approached it, he spotted what looked like an easier route, a side passage he thought might bypass the infamous squeeze. It appeared to be a slightly wider crack, a path he hoped would be less strenuous. With a quick check, he decided to go for it, sliding headfirst into the dark. It was a fatal decision. This wasn't the known path, but a previously unexplored, incredibly narrow, downward-sloping slot, which he entered thinking it was a simple shortcut through. He slid, headfirst, into a passage barely 10 inches wide and 18 inches high. And then he was stuck, upside down. His body, meant for upright living, was now fighting against gravity in the most terrifying way. A position that few human bodies are meant to endure for long. The passage narrowed quickly, and his body wedged in, completely inverted. His arms were pinned beneath him, his legs uselessly stuck above. He couldn't push himself forward, and he couldn't pull himself back out. The crushing weight of the rock was all around him. The horror of his position was immediate. Upside down, gravity pulling his organs, making breathing an agonizing struggle. His head was lower than his heart, putting immense strain on his cardiovascular system. It was a position that was not only physically excruciating, but profoundly disorienting and terrifying. Every breath was an effort, every beat of his heart a struggle against the inverted force. The rescue attempt was heroic, involving over 137 people. Ropes, police, sheer human strength, every tool and tactic was deployed. But the cave, in its relentless grip, refused to yield. Each small victory was met with a new, crushing setback. John's brother, Josh, was the first to try and pull him out, but couldn't. Soon, a massive team of volunteer rescuers arrived, a dedicated group of cavers, medics, and emergency personnel. They worked tirelessly in the incredibly cramped, unstable conditions. They tried various rope and pulley systems, even using a specialized drilling tool. But the angle, the extreme tightness, and the constant fear of dislodging more rock made every attempt agonizingly slow and dangerous. Equipment malfunctioned, anchor points failed, and exhaustion set in. Rescuers could reach him, talk to him, even give him an 4, but they couldn't get enough leverage, couldn't create enough space to free him. The cave itself seemed to fight back, holding John fast with an unbreakable grip, turning every rescue effort into a testament to human perseverance against impossible odds. As hours turned into a full day, John's body began to betray him. The inverted position caused immense strain on his heart and lungs, fluids pooled where they shouldn't, and exhaustion set in. Rescuers could talk to him, could try to comfort him, but they couldn't free him. After 27 agonizing hours, John Edward Jones took his final breath, still trapped, upside down, in the silent dark. The immense pressure on his chest and abdomen made it increasingly hard to breathe, leading to fluid buildup in his lungs and brain. His heart, working against gravity, was under incredible stress. He remained conscious for many hours, speaking with his rescuers, trying to stay positive, but the physical toll was too great. The cold, the lack of movement, and the crushing physiological effects of being inverted for so long slowly shut down his systems. They couldn't pull him out, couldn't even rotate him slightly. He died quietly, trapped in the most undignified and excruciating position imaginable, a silent tragedy witnessed by those who fought so desperately to save him. The decision was made with heavy hearts to seal the passage, making Nutty Putty Cave a permanent memorial, a silent testament to the raw power of the earth and the tragic cost of exploration. Retrieving John's body was simply too risky, posing an unacceptable danger to the rescuers. It was a heartbreaking but necessary choice. Explosives were used to collapse the passage around him, creating a permanent seal. Nutty Putty Cave became his tomb, a solemn place where one adventurous spirit found his final rest, forever a part of the earth he loved to explore. The cave, in its cold indifference, had claimed another life, becoming a stark reminder of the profound dangers that lie beneath our feet. Chapter 6, The Final Breath, Lessons, Reverence, and the Cave's Call. Whether it's the slow, public agony of Floyd Collins or the undignified, inverted struggle of John Edward Jones, these stories share a chilling commonality, the profound helplessness when the earth decides to claim its own. Think about it. Both men, experienced cavers, met their end trapped, unable to move, unable to escape. Both faced the crushing claustrophobia, the relentless cold, and the terrifying realization that help might not come, or might not be enough. There's a shared thread of quiet desperation, a long, drawn-out battle against an unyielding environment. They were in positions from which no human body is designed to recover. The waiting, the anticipation of an end you can feel approaching but are powerless to stop. That's a common, gruesome thread in these tragedies. It's not a quick, merciful passing, but a slow, agonizing surrender where every minute is a reminder of your vulnerability. Caves are not monsters, dear listener. They are ancient, indifferent wonders, sculpted by eons of water and rock. They do not hold grudges, nor do they offer mercy. They simply are. It's crucial to understand this. A cave isn't actively trying to trap you or harm you. It's not malicious. It doesn't have emotions or intentions. It just exists, following its own ancient geological rules. A rockfall isn't a deliberate act. It's the natural consequence of erosion or instability. A flash flood isn't an attack. It's water moving through its natural pathways. This indifference is what makes them so profoundly dangerous. They don't care about your courage, your skill, or your desire to explore. They exist on a scale of time and power that simply dwarfs human life. They don't forgive mistakes. They demand ultimate respect, because if you forget that for even a moment, they will simply remind you of their power without malice, but with absolute finality. These tragic tales serve as a profound reminder. The call of the deep earth demands not just courage, but immense respect, meticulous preparation, and a humility born from understanding its immense power. Never underestimate a cave. Never. Every trip underground requires thorough training, understanding of geology, and knowing your own limits. Proper gear isn't just a suggestion, it's a lifeline. Multiple light sources, enough food and water, emergency blankets, first aid kits, and most importantly, never caving alone, and always informing someone above ground of your plans. These aren't just rules. They're lessons learned from tragedies like those of Floyd Collins and John Edward Jones. The cave demands respect, and it takes it one way or another. It's a harsh classroom, but its lessons are etched in stone, and sometimes in human lives. And yet, despite the grim warnings, the allure of the unknown, the beauty of unseen realms, will forever draw humanity into the earth's embrace. For some, the call of the deep earth is simply too strong to resist. Why do people still go into caves, knowing the risks? Because there's a profound beauty there that few other places on earth can offer. The thrill of discovery, the silence, the connection to something ancient and raw. For many, the reward of seeing an untouched formation or navigating a challenging passage outweighs the inherent dangers. It's a calling, a fascination that runs deep. Explorers will always push boundaries, seeking out the hidden wonders of our world. It's part of what makes us human, that insatiable curiosity, that desire to venture into the unknown. So as the night deepens, let these stories linger, not as tales of horror for their own sake, but as a silent memorial to the adventurous spirits who push the boundaries and the quiet, awesome power of the world beneath our feet. These stories remind us of the incredible fragility of human life when confronted with the immense, indifferent forces of nature. They are chilling reminders, whispered by the rocks themselves, of the profound power that lies just beneath the surface. They teach us humility, respect, and perhaps a deeper appreciation for the thin layer of safety we often take for granted above ground.